Hello, boys. It's early morning, and I figured I would record this video as a sort of a rant of the day video. It's once again got to do with hard reserve stuff, and this one is a bit absurd. I was just on my way here to Diarmol East, just you know, herbing, mining, the usual. You've got a few videos on the channel if you're interested in seeing them. And I came across this warrior. He was spamming, looking for 3 more DPS for Diarmol East, which is the instance we're in, obviously. And he was clearly saying that these are jump runs, which is what I am doing in here, and that the veins are hard reserved. Yeah, the rich thorium veins at the end. Now, there is a bit of a problem with that, and I don't really understand it. It's not the warrior. I mean, of course, that guy is just an abusive cunt. That's all there is to it. But it's not the warrior that I'm really wondering about. It's more like the rest of them, the rest of the classes. See, the thing with this run is that every other class on Horde side, so we have no paladins, so don't tell me about those guys, but every other class on Horde side can solo this. Not necessarily the last boss, bringing the last boss to 50%. Rogues would probably not be able to do that, but rogues don't give a shit. They can just pick up herbalism and sneak through this instance and come out pretty rich with all the, dreamfoil, Grom's blood, and ghost mushrooms they're going to herb. They can also kill satyrs, and I'm not sure, but I think they can actually kill that imp lady boss. Obviously, the reason for which these cunts are attempting to hard reserve the nodes, which doesn't even make any sense, but whatever, is that they are hoping for an arcane crystal or blue sapphire to drop. There is no other reason to do that. Like, the thorium itself is not that valuable. It's like 15 silver for one, so, But the part I don't get is, why are the rest of the people enabling these abusive cunts? Because that is what you're doing. If you're joining one such run, you are actually enabling these cunts. See, when you've got an abuser, that abuser cannot really exist unless other people are enabling that abuse, right? It doesn't matter whether you're talking about a game, whether you're talking about other stuff, because this, as you're about to hear, this concerns other things in real life. If you're talking about work, if you're talking about personal relationships, if you're talking about politics even, you cannot have an abuser unless you also have enablers, people supporting and enabling and quietly approving of that abuse. And, some people go like, well, let's have some pity on the poor warriors because they're the only class who can't solo this sort of shit. And, if they are to come here, they should get something out of it. There are a couple of problems with that. The first one is that it's not limited to this sort of thing. Like, you can always go and look at the LFG tool, and I can promise you're going to find some warrior setting up a Stratholme live group, going like, first orb is hard reserved, and then the rest of them will go round robin. And you can bet your ass they will, of course, also roll on the second one. They're not even going to have the decency to pass for the rest of the group after winning one of them. And it's not going to be just that either. You're going to get lots and lots and lots and lots of shit like that. So you're going to see UBRS runs with Dull Rant, Fell Striker, Painweaver Band, Hard Reserved, and a bunch of other shit. Because when you enable this sort of abuse, Well, they not only think it's acceptable, they think they're entitled to it, and they think they would be stupid not to do it, right? Now, I mentioned this stuff because, if you can solo this, which is what I'm doing right now, you can see that I've done this a total of 131 times. It says wipes, but it wasn't ever a wipe. It's just that that's what DBM says when you reset a boss. I would rather come in here on my own. I don't need a warrior, I don't need anyone, and I would rather keep the arcane crystals or blue sapphires, whatever I'm able to get, for myself. Like, why the fuck would I want to, why the fuck would I want to do that? Why the fuck would I want to pass on them for you? And, you might say something like, well, yeah, but I'm not a miner, so I don't care. I just want, let's say, Whipvine Cord from the last boss, and I'm not a miner. I couldn't mine this shit, so maybe that would make sense to you in some strange way. But the problem is that if you're doing that, if you accept this sort of thing to be treated like a second-class player, as it were, you're enabling that abuse, and it is going to come back and bite you at some later point in time. What's going to happen is that sooner or later you're going to want a piece of loot, and you're not going to be able to get it because it's going to be hard reserved. Because if it worked here, and if it works in fucking Stratholme Live with orbs, then of course they're going to be doing it everywhere. And just fucking wait for that Sunken Temple class quest phase. I don't know when it's going to appear, but it is going to be introduced at some point when they get the diamond flask, and then every single warrior will also try to hard reserve healing gear as well. So don't be surprised if you're going for a piece of healing gear later on, either in here or in Zul'Gurub, and it's suddenly hard reserved because a warrior needs it for his flask set, right? I'm not kidding, this is going to happen. The other problem is that, in case you didn't notice, this is more like a generational problem. What I mean by that is that this sort of shit did not happen decades ago. It started happening fairly recently, I would say, and it's happening in every single fucking thing. Like, if you're talking about work, jobs, that sort of shit, you're going to see companies that are worth fucking billions, and I mean billions, advertising unpaid internships. This shit did not fly in the 50s or in the 70s, I can assure you of that. There were apprenticeships, of course, like there's no argument about that, but you would be paid. Not a lot until you became, qualified or whatever, but you would be paid. Whereas now, these guys are like, yeah, you need to rent a place because you need to show to the office, you need to pay for transportation, clothing, because we've got a dress code or whatever, and you need to support yourself and you need to work for us, but you're not getting paid, mate. And yeah, you can see another guy in there, but of course it's a warrior once again, with Hand of Justice hard reserved. Like, do not be surprised when this shit becomes the norm if you keep enabling this sort of nonsense, right? That is what's going to happen. They're going to think, again, that it's not just normal, but they would be stupid not to do it. So take a look at this. You look at dungeons, this guy, first orb, goes to tank, of course, hard reserved. And after that, round robin, of course, and he's looking for a mage. Like, why the fuck would I do that as a mage? I can just come in here, grab herbs, arcane crystals, whatever I can get, sell them, and buy an orb. An arcane crystal, a single one, is more expensive than an orb. Why would I need to get lucky? Why would I need to carry your sorry ass? The next guy under him in Dire Morist, of course, jump runs, Veins hard reserved. Like, why the fuck would I join you? Why the fuck is that shaman joining him? Why is that priest joining him? Like, guys, you could solo this shit, hello? But yeah, That's what I'm talking about. They're enabling this sort of abuse. And again, if you're trying to be, socialist and go like, oh yeah, but the poor warrior is unable to solo this, so he needs to get something out of this, so that's why he's hard reserving and so on. Let me tell you a bit about what that sounds like to me. It sounds like Chanel and Lara. Now, let me try to explain that. See, I'm married, happily married. I've got a family, wife, kids, whatever. And I would like to think that I caught the last helicopter out of Saigon, as it were, the last train out of Vietnam or whatever, because I met my wife and, eventually got married before dating apps became, let's say, mainstream. However, I do have a friend, and he's not exactly your Casanova or Don Juan prototype. He's not really good with ladies, let's just put it that way. And he's still roaming these dating apps. Like, I know he's on probably 10 of them, but I only know 2 of them, Bumble and Match. And he occasionally sends me some screenshots. The guy doesn't even look at the pictures. He just swipes. I don't know which one is the positive one, left or right. Basically, he likes, loves, whatever matches everyone without even looking at the screen, just waiting for something to pop up. And this is what he gets. So in here, we've got fucking Chanel. And as you can see, Chanel is 35. What she's got in common with him are city breaks. But of course, Chanel is 35 and pregnant. And according to her, she had the courage to leave, I don't know, a nasty relationship because she was getting cheated on. So she decided the man wasn't good enough, obviously. But having his baby, yeah, that is good enough. So now she's looking for someone who's kind and I don't fucking know what else. Basically, she's looking to get carried, as it were. I need someone to change the nappies. I need someone to pay the bills because I'm going to be temporarily incapacitated. I need someone who's going to get sleepless nights, and in return, he will get... Oh, wait. What the fuck is he going to get? Well, he will probably maybe get access to... the sort of 36, I assume, by the time she'll have the baby. 36-year-old vagina that the baby managed to crawl out through. So, yeah. Great deal. Kind of like coming in here when the good stuff is already going to other people. But let's take another look at Lara with a similar proposition, right? Where Lara appears to be interested in feminism and human rights. And as a first date, she would like to be taken out shopping and to a restaurant, and the bills are on you. I assume XX means kisses. I don't know. I'm too old for this shit, and I'm too old and too married for this shit, so whatever, man. Yeah, this is the kind of thing you're going to get. You enable abuse on any level, in any sort of scenario. You're going to look for a job and you're going to find unpaid internships. You're going to look for a lady and you're going to find a 35-year-old single mom or future single mom, whatever. And forget about those city breaks. I can assure you that's the last thing that's going to happen when you've got a screaming toddler on your balls. Don't be surprised if, you live in some sort of democracy and you're kind of supposed to, I don't fucking know, go out and vote. And when you try to go out and vote, you have to choose between 2 people who are basically telling you, fuck you, both of them. And the only difference between them is that one of them is going to give his friends a 10 billion tax cut, whereas the other one is going to give his friends a 12 billion tax cut. And you're going to have to go out and choose, right? That's the sort of shit that you get when you enable this sort of behavior. For me, it's not much of a big deal. Like, I just ignore these guys. I barely make fun of their messages. That's when I even read them, because it doesn't happen all that often. I'm usually too busy with, kiting, killing, resetting, mining, herbing to even read the chat. But yeah, although for me it's kind of irrelevant, I can still see these guys. Like that fucking guy with the DME jump runs, he was looking for people for like 1 hour in the chat. And I just, smiled and moved on, like I was just riding towards Dire Mall, going like, yeah, good luck with that, because I'm not fucking getting anywhere near you. And I'm not inviting you to my run. I'm not joining your run to carry you, only to pass on the good stuff. But even though they have to wait for like 1 hour, they eventually do find some enablers, as I call them, who are going to join the run. They're going to heal and DPS. They're going to get jack shit out of it. And they're going to think that, yeah, that's fine. Or maybe they're going to get some completely irrelevant blue item that nobody gives a shit about. And they're going to think it's a good deal. Guys, it's not a fucking good deal. Even if you're not a miner, you're still investing your time. You could very well be logging a fucking alt and doing this shit for, your own benefit. And it's the same thing with that warrior. That warrior, don't, think, oh yeah, but the poor guy can't solo this. Yeah, maybe he can't solo it on a warrior. He could very well level a fucking alt like everyone has done until now. Like I've got 2 other 60s here, a third one, or rather a fourth one that I'm still leveling. You could very well create literally any other class and do this shit if you actually needed those arcane crystals and you didn't have the gold to pay for them. You don't have to go and do it on a fucking warrior. So there is no excuse and there is no reason to, feel bad for them, pity them, oh yeah, the poor guy, blah, 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 blah. The same poor guy is going to wait for you when you want to go to Stratholme to get an orb for your enchant. He will be right there, hard reserving that shit. When you want to get healing gear, the same guy is going to be there rolling need, because he will want his diamond flask set for what fucking ever, because he's still going to be worthless with that diamond flask healing set. The same guy is going to try to do the same shit when he creates another class. He will just try to set up more hard reserved runs. Like, just go and try to find an Onyxia run where the BOEs are not reserved, where the recipes are not reserved, whether it's Onyxia, MC, whatever, anything else. The Onyxia head, the Nefarian head later on, and so on. If you enable this sort of shit, bro, you've only got yourself to blame for it, and the rest of us just get to suffer because you're too weak and too fucking stupid to realize that you're being exploited. That's pretty much all I wanted to say on the matter. Consider this, like I said, the rant of the day, in line with the other hard reserve video I published, I guess. Just think about it for a moment, and unless you really enjoy the prospect of everything I mentioned, like unpaid internships, pregnant ladies looking for someone to pay their bills, having to choose between, I don't fucking know, Trump and Harris, or Labour and Tories, or whatever your local fucking idiot is. Unless you really enjoy that, maybe stop and think for a second whether what you're doing has further implications down the line. And yeah, I know, wow, Trump, whatever, they're completely different things, but the people who are enabling that sort of abuse, how do you think their brain works? Because I can tell you it works pretty much the same way. Like, oh yeah, that guy's not going to do anything for me, he's getting all the good stuff, I'm getting screwed over, but that's okay, because I don't care about that, I don't need that, and so on. Well, you may not need that, but you may need an arcane crystal, you may need a righteous orb, you may need a paid job, you may need, at some point, perhaps an ice lady if you're that young. You may need some stuff, and you're not gonna get jack shit, because this sort of abuse, when it becomes so widespread, it's going to be present everywhere. Just fucking stop and think about it. Look, another guy, and another guy. And you know, it's kind of funny with these guys, with the first orb to tank and whatever. It's like, bro, I would rather run this, get an arcane crystal, sell it, and buy an orb. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Hopefully you've enjoyed the rant, or I don't know, perhaps found it useful at least. See you next time.